Good evening. Welcome to Off the Leash. I'm your host, Jeremy Webb, Neptune Theatre's artistic director, which sounds very strange to give yourself a job title when you haven't been able to fully do your job for the last 7 weeks. But nonetheless, I still got it. The job, I mean. I hope you're doing well. I don't know what week of isolation this is for you or even for me, but I know it's Tuesday because it says so on my computer, and I know it's 8:30, so that's good. I feel grounded. What I really wish I was doing right now is doing what I've had the fortune to do a number of times over the last few years, which is take a drive across a certain causeway and head up to a beautiful part of the world with some amazing people, and that part of the world is Cape Breton. I can't go, so I'm doing it tonight digitally instead by welcoming a bunch of guests. Before I bring them in, I just wanted to digress for a second before I bore the guests with this. I popped into Neptune today, and if you follow me on Facebook, you'll know this already because you may have seen the post, but I popped in and I thought I was picking up some stuff in my office that I needed, and I thought I'll just stick my head into the theater. And there on stage, under the ghost light, was still the set, or part of the set anyway, visible, of Calendar Girls, the last show that played there and was cancelled just after it opened. And I took a couple of photos, and it was just really kind of spooky, especially how the light there is creating the Death Star on the cyclorama. And then here, this is a shot from the stage through the ghost light of the auditorium. Now, you tell me if you can see a figure on the left-hand side of that photo. It's got a blue, I don't know, horseshoe in its chest. There is a figure standing there. Neptune is haunted. We know that, or we believe that. And I think I caught a picture of the ghost. Anyway, we'll argue that one at the office when we get back there. Let's bring in my guests on that spooky note. I just felt I needed to share that. Let's bring them in all the way from Cape Breton, digitally, right now. We have Pam Leader from the Savoy, Wesley Colford from the Highland Arts Theatre, and Hannah Ziss from Theatre Baddesck. Hi, you three.
Hello, Jeremy.
Hi.
I'm sorry about showing you the ghost just before I...
You didn't even warn us about that. That was very spooky.
Yeah, very spooky.
Yeah, I know. Wesley, look behind you. Just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding.
So it's my career. Oh, no.
So, yeah. Yeah.
This is our career haunting us.
Way back. It's great to see you all. You all look well. You all look really well.
Everyone's very dressy. I'm glad.
You know what, Jeremy? This is a great excuse to get dressed.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm on the Graham Norton show.
Yeah,
It's a dream of mine, actually.
Somebody asked me why I enjoy a glass of wine, and I said, well, it's the evening. And also, I'm a big fan of the Graham Norton show, the UK, and he always makes his guests have a glass of wine to loosen them up.
Absolutely.
So,
I think
I hope you followed instructions and have a gin and tonic with you.
I'm waiting.
Well, I had mine already, so I have to skip to water.
Right.
Water.
Water. Okay, well, never mind. I tried. So let's go around the room and just check in with you. Pam, how are you? Where are you?
I'm good. I'm in my office at the Savoy, and I love being in this building by myself, actually.
Yeah. Oh, do you?
A little bit spooky sometimes. And if I went down and took a picture, I'd probably get a ghost as well.
Yeah.
I'm good. And I do love being in the building by myself. Get lots of work done when you're by yourself.
Because your theater is a very old building, right? I mean, was it a vaudevillian playhouse back in the day?
It was. Sammy Davis Jr. danced on that stage when he was 10.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
Yes,
Oh my goodness.
it's true. And so the theater is 93 years old.
Wow.
So we're on the road to 100, and we will make it.
Oh, yeah.
Pandemic or no pandemic, we're going to make it to 100.
I think you will. I've played on that stage a number of times. And I don't think I would actually have the guts to go in there at nighttime with the lights off. I got a bit scared of my own theater, and it was 9:30 this morning.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, because I remember playing there before you had renovations done, and the heating system clanks a little, used to clank, and it was like they were talking to us. Wesley, how are you doing? Are you at home?
I'm all right. Yes, I'm at Highland Arts Theatre Communications Central, which is my home office right now. I feel like I've been just constantly on Zoom calls and making videos in this room, but things are good. It's as like everyone, I'm sure. It's a roller coaster up and down. We're a pretty young theater. We're just about to celebrate our 6th anniversary, and it really felt like we finally, we gotten the hang of things. We were really in a beautiful upward trajectory. I mean, we have been, but we're starting to feel like we weren't just making up as we went along. Oh, that fresh face.
Ooh, young Wesley.
That must be your younger brother.
That's no, he's now older than that picture. That's 6 years ago, but as you know, when you run a theater, time runs in multiples of 10, so it feels like
This is true.
Yeah.
Okay, that was unfair. I know that if I posted a picture of me 6 years ago, I would also look like I hadn't been running a theater for 6 years.
Yeah, and I thought the quarantine would help. Honestly, I've been exercising almost every day. I'm cooking for myself, no more takeout. I was like, oh, this is going to be really good for my physical health. And then I look at that picture, and I realize there's no chance. I'd have to just completely retire in order to somehow look healthier. Here we go.
Well, that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So,
No.
Hannah, how are you? Where are you?
I am also sitting in my home. I wish I looked as studious as Wesley with that fabulous bookshelf in the background. I am in my new home, actually. I moved during the pandemic, so that was that was quite a thrill. So I'm just here in my home. I sent my husband to the basement. He's hiding there, so that's where I am.
This is your new husband, your relatively new husband.
As opposed to my first husband, yes. No.
Okay, well,
I'm newly married. I got married in August, in the middle of my theater season, which I was advised by many not to do. But, it worked out well because Theatre Baddesck is a bit of a family business. My mother, Christy, and I run it together. And so by having a wedding as part of your theater season, it really becomes sort of a one night only, sort of just little extra show to produce.
Right.
So it went off without a hitch for sure.
Yeah, just another show. Could people subscribe to that show?
Yeah, unfortunately, people weren't into buying tickets for it. I'm not really sure what that was about.
The three of us would have bought a ticket for that.
But I think they'll come back for the next one for sure.
Because I heard it was like dinner theater. You actually got a meal.
Yeah, and there was a movie, there was dancing, there was I would say it was a high quality event.
Yeah. So are you in Halifax, or are you in?
I am currently in Halifax. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Cool. So I live a strange geographic life. I spend the winter in Halifax, and then the summer in Baddesck. So I am in Halifax currently.
So okay, let's just have a chat about the sad state of affairs right now. I know that you've all been postponing. I hate to use the cancellation word because it sounds so drastic and scary.
Me too.
But we're basically putting things on hold, and we'll try and revive as many things as possible. That's what I'm the way I'm thinking of it.
Yes.
But, so Hannah, you made an announcement. We'll start with you actually, because you made an announcement very recently. Do you want to tell what you just told the world?
So we told the world yesterday that we would be essentially lifting our 2020 season and putting it into 2021. So for those that don't know, we're a summer theater. So our show, we produce, this season it was going to be 4 shows from June to October. And now they're just lifted to 2021. So yes, I also hate the word cancellation. And also, I mean, we keep an eye on the way things are going, and like Wesley, we're a young company and we're quite agile, and so we kind of feel like if things change later in the year, we're kind of ready to put something up with even a short amount of notice to sort of make sure that we're bringing art to this community, which is what we always wanted to do, and if we have the chance to do that, I think that would be super exciting. So.
There you are.
Oh, that was me 6 years ago. No.
Oh, there you go. I'm doing all the 6 years. Now, the beautiful thing about this, if we can all, because this photo is a strange, well, not a strange shape, it's a great shape, but we can all lean out. And
but woo,
there we go.
I'll pretend that we're in where you are.
Somebody will screen capture that, usually Kimberly. Morley Austin, of course, is in that photo. Is that who's that with you?
Great. That's my mother.
That is your mother, yeah. I thought it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. And what were the shows that you were scheduled to do this summer?
We had a very exciting lineup. It was our biggest season to date. So we were opening with Outside Mullingar by John Patrick Shanley, the lovely Irish play. Yeah. Featuring throwing frying pans, etc. And then right after that, we were producing a remount of our very popular He'd Be Your Mother's Father's Cousin by Mary Colin Chisholm. This show was such a hit last year in 2019. And we sold out the final week, and lots of folks didn't get a chance to see it. So we decided to bring it back for a short remount. Yeah. And then after that, we have Lockie, Liza, and Rory by Sheldon Curie.
Is this? Yeah. Look at that. I wasn't 100% sure I had the right graphic, and I do.
You do. And the only thing missing there is that Mary Colin Chisholm is directing that show for us.
Oh, okay, great.
Which is super exciting. She was a huge part of the development of that very cool show.
Yeah.
2 actors who play all the characters, and one of those actors is me. So now I have a whole year to I have a whole extra year to prepare for the sort of the hugeness of that show. Yeah. And then finally in the fall is Where You Are by Kristen De Silva.
Right.
And Samantha Wilson is directing that very sweet show.
Okay, well, fingers crossed we get to see all of them. I know that for the first time in your 6 years of existence, I actually got to come up last summer.
You did.
And because I tried to see something everywhere last year, at least one show. And I had a great night. It was
it was so great to have you. It was one of those things where you came and I wasn't sure if I should tell the cast that you were coming, and then
no.
And then the way the seating worked out, you were sitting in one of those seats that's really well lit.
Yeah.
So anyway, everyone at intermission was like, "Is Jeremy Webb here?" I said, "Oh,
sure." Yeah. And you were like, "Yeah." So, and they were like, "Yeah, good point."
Whatever. Who cares?
Who cares?
Who is that? I don't know.
Pam, I know from experience of over the years bringing shows to you before I was at Neptune that you're kind of I don't know whether it's impolite to call you. Not only do you produce your own work within the community, but you're also a roadhouse. You have visiting shows that are touring, that you buy them in, sell them to the public, and they all come and have a great night at your space. I'm assuming that, you know, not only have you sort of pulled the plug on a lot of your own work that you're producing, but no one's touring at the moment.
That's right.
Yeah, so you've basically had to wipe the calendar clean. Is that where you are?
Yep. Well, since March 16th, and we're right now have nothing scheduled until the end of the year, but I'm still holding out hope for Christmas shows.
Right.
But we've canceled between dinner theater and regular shows about 35 to 40 shows.
Wow.
Yeah. Yes. So, but you know, we just have to stay positive and go with next year, and hopefully we'll get a couple Christmas shows in, but I'm not holding out hope on that.
Yeah, well, I mean, fingers crossed. I mean, like Hannah just said, they have the ability to jump into action should things get lifted.
Yes.
I know that the Mervish people in Toronto also talked about the fact that they plan on staying shut down until the new year, but should issues get resolved sooner, they can start straight back in with Come From Away, which is just sitting there waiting.
Right.
So yeah, but that's a lot.
Like I said the other day, like I said earlier, we're talking to you guys is we have our Cinderella set up right now. So no matter what happens, whatever show it is, it's the Cinderella set that's going to be behind.
I think that's great. I kind of want to see like a nice Elvis tribute band coming through.
Yes.
Doing it on the Cinderella set.
On the Cinderella
set from Neptune.
What?
What'd you say, Hannah?
I said the Cinderella Summertime Review.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why not?
I think Bette McDonald would make a great Cinderella.
So there you go.
You would. Yeah.
So that's where we are. And I should have went into the theater and taken a picture of the stage as well, because the Cinderella set is up. We were ready to open a week later, a week after.
Oh my goodness.
All went down. And so again, I'm going to bite my tongue and not swear, but it's all going to be fine.
Yes. There's a lot of tongue biting going on
there is.
around the world right now. Before we get to you, Wesley, I want to ask you the same question, but we've had some messages coming in. I'm just going to fly through a bunch of them. You may know some of these people. I don't know. There we go. Here's one. Oh,
Film Festival.
that's nice.
Nice.
Hi, Heather. There's a question from someone, but I'll jump over that. Cynthia Vokey.
Trouble.
Never heard of her.
Trouble.
Me,
That's nice.
as a matter of fact.
Nice.
I think this comment was to do with your 38 shows being cancelled. And
Thank you.
yeah,
Aw, hi, Karen.
I'm sure that if Karen knew Hannah, she would also miss you as well.
She would.
And Karen, you should make a point of going to Theatre Baddesck when they reopen. Highly recommended. Cool. There is actually one question here, which I'll come back to. So Wesley, same for you. I mean, Hannah alluded to the fact, and you said that you're a younger company, but what has been the impact of this?
It's. I mean, as you all know, it's all encompassing. This was going to be our busiest year yet, and in beginning of March, we had 178 nights of shows programmed for this year, which was not even the whole year. That was just sort of our own programming and the rental shows that were already booked. So that was very exciting. Obviously, again, that's all been put on hold. We are just, working our way through 27 different contingency plans of different things that may or may not be possible at any given time. So, that's very calming, I find, as a mental state. It's great to exist in all of those realities at once. But it's good, and the saving grace is our community has been so supportive, and someone said when we were talking earlier, just lovely comments. Overall, people incredibly understanding shows that were on tour that are now postponed a whole year, and people completely understanding, just being saying we're so glad we'll be able to look forward to that next May, or we're so glad that it's not canceled, because obviously people bought tickets because they wanted to see it. So that's been my solace, and then just trying to keep up with the emails. And I was told I would get a break, and that hasn't happened yet. 7 or 8 weeks in, so
I hear you.
Really happening. But it's good, and again, it's made easier by having so many great people. But we're just excited to get going. I mean, we same as you guys. We were mid-production when we got the notice. We were a day away from closing, in fact, and then we had a sold-out run of Frozen Junior that was going to be running the entire next week that we had a quick turnaround for. So, I mean, those shows are ready. We had 35 of our young company ready to launch into Let It Go. So we're able to have all of those kids in the same room. We'll be doing it. So that's, there are things to look forward to. Maybe it becomes a Christmas production. Maybe it becomes next March break production. Who knows? But we're going to be there.
I feel bad for you that you didn't have 35 kids singing Let It Go to you. So what I suggest is, I know that Cynthia's watching. Maybe she can put this out there on social media, that everyone should send a home version of Let It Go to Wesley Colford.
I've been rehearsing that song for 6 years.
I'm going to send one.
That'll be a finale for this episode. We all have to sing it together.
Let it go. Just let it go. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to play a little video here to give you a flavor of what's been going on at the Highland Arts Theatre. And while I'm playing that, it's just a few seconds long, a minute long. Yeah, we're going to watch it. But what I'd like you all to do is tell me what it is about Cape Breton that makes it such a special place, because I know it is. And also when we can travel and come back up, assuming you haven't dropped the drawbridge on your causeway, that you can persuade us. Why should I come up and see shows in Cape Breton? Or I know why, but tell them. Let's watch this. Maybe it'll inspire us.
I could stay awake just to hear you breathing. Watch you smile while you're sleeping, while you're far away and dreaming. I could spend my life in this sweet surrender. I could stay lost in this moment forever, where every moment spent with you is a moment I treasure. I don't want to close my eyes, don't want to fall asleep, 'cause I miss you, baby. I don't want to miss a thing, even when I dream of you. Sweetest dreams will never do, I'd still miss you, baby. I don't want to miss a thing. Lying close to you and feeling your heart.
That was fun.
Awesome.
You're very prepared, Wesley.
That's little samples of some of the shows from our 5th year.
That's amazing. I saw some familiar faces in there.
Mhm.
You
A lot
did.
of familiar faces, actually. And yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah.
I need you to make a montage of my 5th year, or my 52nd year, actually. Could you get on that?
Edited it. I can't now take the credit for that. It's my
Okay.
very good friend.
Whoever edited that video, let me know. I want to.
I can forward. He's very good, and I'm sure for hire.
Awesome. Okay, so tell me, what is it about Cape Breton that makes it so special, that makes you want to work and create there? And you know, what's going on up there?
Well, I'll tell you a story about our very first season, which it sort of speaks to some of the challenges of producing theater, but some of the joys in a place like Baddesck. We produce our theater in the old Masonic Hall in Baddesck, built in the year 1898, and it was certainly not built to be a theater space. That's it there. Oh, it's so beautiful. It's not outfitted with lighting equipment in this. So in our first season, we had to rent all of our equipment actually from the Atlantic Ballet in New Brunswick at the time, and it came down to the theater, and we go to do the install, and there is something electrical that does not exist in the building, and the lighting can't go up. It won't work, and we have to open in 5 days, and we have no idea what to do.
Right.
So Christy starts madly calling every electrician she can think of, but there aren't that many in Baddesck and area. And 15 minutes later, a man walks through the door and he says, "Oh, I'm Carl Campbell. I hear you need some help here." He didn't call back. He just walked right through the door.
Yeah.
Fixed the problem. We opened, no problem. And you know what? I just think there's something about, I think Wesley kind of alluded to it earlier. I mean, the community spirit is kind of magical, actually. And it's really special to feel that, that you're producing art in a place that where storytelling is so valued. I mean, Cape Breton storytelling, I mean, it's tough to beat, right? And so I think that was what really inspired us to feel like theater could thrive in a place like Baddesck that had no professional theater, but was such as a vibrant, some sort of summer tourist town. And so you got to come up to Cape Breton. I mean, that video was so great from Wesley at the Highland Arts Theatre.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, we feel quite fortunate that we are able to attract such amazing artists like Morley Austin that you saw in that picture, and so many others. Yeah. And we've been creating some magic in our little theater home. With all kinds of people like Carl Campbell, that electrician, showing up out of nowhere to make it happen. Yeah.
Cool. Anything you want to add there, you two?
Well, I agree. It's a sense of community. A sense of community, but also, I have to say, the talent.
Yeah.
And sometimes they don't even know that they have the talent.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
People are agreeing with you.
Yeah, and so yeah, sometimes those people don't even know how talented they are until we get them on stage. And when I say we, I don't mean me, because I'm not creative. But I also know, well, you know, I also know talent when I see it.
Yeah. I think you're doing this well. Yes, you are a theater administrator. What's your official title at the
Executive director.
Executive director, right? So you're an administrator by trade.
Kind of everything. Like,
yeah, I was about to say. I mean, anyone that works in this industry,
you're the janitor. You're everything.
Yeah. But you certainly have an artistic side. Otherwise, you wouldn't love that building and want to be there all the time, even at night.
Yeah, probably that's true.
Yeah, cool. Because I know because I've been there for them and even worked on one for you, that you have a great loyalty to the local talent up there, which is fantastic to see. And well, I think you all do, but I've had firsthand experience when you got me up to come and direct Beauty and the Beast a year or 4 ago. I don't know when was that? I don't even know.
2018.
I should have dug up a picture of that for you.
Yes, you should have, because I'm unprepared. 2017, 18.
Sure, sounds about right.
Yeah.
It was before I got the Neptune job, and I had a great time with the community up there, and also it was great. I got to come and live up there for a week at a time, or at the end it was like a 2-week stint in Cape Breton, and then you paid me for it.
Oh, really?
Come on.
Did I pay you?
Yeah. The checks went through. It was all good. I mean, I do
welcomed you with open arms, even though you were a come from away.
Well, I've had a long history in my 22 years in the country. I've spent a lot of time in Cape Breton and in Sydney, because as I think you probably know, I know you know, Pam, I spent a couple of years coming up and shooting the TV show Pit Pony. And so I spent a couple of years living in the Cambridge Suites Hotel on occasion. And then when I came up to work for you, you had me in the same hotel. It was like 20 years later, and I'm still there.
Yep.
You can't get rid of me.
Nope.
Wesley, what about you? What is it about the people up there that, tell me about your desire to not only start creating work and being there, but also you opened a theater. Some people would say that might be kind of, a bit rash. It's not the wisest move.
It was not I never thought it was a good idea, and yet here I am, and relatively flourishing. No, I mean, if those of you that don't know me, I lived in Sydney all my life. I graduated. I went to theater school in Toronto, and then was living there and working there. And really, that had always been my dream. I wanted to work in theater. And growing up, there's no imagination of there being a professional theater in Sydney or in Cape Breton at all at that point. So I always thought my trajectory would be to go away, to stay away. And I love Toronto. I was doing very well as an early actor, writer, producer, whatever. And then in 2014, I was offered to come home to direct what at that point was going to be one show at this beautiful new venue. Which I, of course, just completely fell in love with. And, coming out of a few years of being in Toronto and, working and doing a show for 10 of your friends in an empty, refurbished barber shop. And then you go to their 10 shows and then it just kind of spins around. Oh, that's excellent. That's why you should come to Cape Breton. I was going to say, based on the video, is the sex appeal. There's so much eroticism in that first minute of that video.
Look at that.
Anyway, but as I came home and we did this show, just the response from the community was unbelievable. And I mean, look at that view. You can't help but have your breath taken away. Yeah. And one show became 1 year, and then that became one season, and then that became 6 seasons, or however many seasons within 6 years. And I'm still here. And I think it is the community. I think it's the fact that people want to go to the theater versus Toronto. There's so much there. I mean, incredible thing, incredible players, incredible companies. And here, there's just such a demand. I mean, we do not have a large community. I think it's 100,000 people on the entire island. That's all the rural areas. And the fact that we're sitting here, we have 3 theater companies. And I mean, Pam, you've heard me tell the story because I love it. I knew we were all in the same wonderful position. I think in our second Christmas, it was late November. And within a 5-month period, it was when I was co-directing Annie for you, Pam, at the Savoy. You had a dinner theater at the same time. You had the Nutcracker. You had all of the rentals and Bette McDonald at Maynard, all of those shows. We had a similar lineup. There was a show at the Boardmore. I'm going to mess up these numbers, but it was, I think, within a 28-day period between those 3 venues, there were something like 75 performances, and all of them were sold out. It was not a competition. It was not a case of, you know, stabbing each other in the back. We're all working together. We're all scheduling rehearsals around the same actors, and we do that all the time. But that was the 2016, I think. It was like, oh, this is clearly working, and clearly we've not exhausted the market. People are hungry for this. And then obviously the summer, it's very similar with all of the things happening, not just Baddesck and our, you know, all of our 3 theaters, but all over Nova Scotia. There's summer festival theaters. And the fact that we can do all the things we do, the Cape Breton Summertime Review, we do a 4-show rep season, and people keep coming. That's incredible. I mean, I can't imagine being in another place and having such generous audiences and such lovely talent to work with. So that makes me excited. And the fact that we all get to do this and be on that same team, just is delightful.
What I love and what I've noticed, what I think may happen when we can get back to this, which let's hope it's within the next 6 months or so, when we build up the steam again, or when you do, is the idea now that I can take a drive up, and like you just mentioned, your programming, when you've all got shows going on at the same time, or, you know, around at the same time, I could go and visit 3 theaters in 3 days and see a whole bunch of different programming, different styles.
It makes it a great weekend.
Yeah, it makes a great week. I mean, what a vacation!
Absolutely. You can stay at the Cambridge Suites.
I have a permanent room there now.
We sponsored this episode of Off the Leash.
Yeah.
Well, you know, if the Cambridge Suites is watching, I miss you.
That is such a great idea, though, because I mean, you know, when the world starts going back together, even in the small steps, maybe even this summer, you know, I think it's going to be a long time before international travel is possible. Certainly, probably interprovincial travel, and not that I want to get everyone out too quickly or make everyone sick, but whenever that is safe, people watching in Halifax, come and take a road trip. Come to Cape Breton. I mean, I lived here my entire life. I didn't do the Cabot Trail until 3 years ago, and I could not believe, you know, there's so many, the Glacier Miners Museum, anything in Baddesck, there's so many amazing places to spend your time, not to mention some of the most beautiful beaches. So that's the one thing I'm looking forward to, is hopefully getting to spend more time around the province, and I hope other people think the same way.
I'm certainly going to make a point of it again. And now I'm not going to mention the establishment, but now I know where Bette McDonald and Maynard Morrison like to have breakfast.
That's not a secret. It's
no, I know. Just in case, I'll be there. I want to pause for a second. We're nearly out of time. We're moments away from being out of time. I want to thank Support for Culture for supporting this endeavor, as they do with many other artistic endeavors in our province. Thank you for your valued support and helping us stay connected right now during these difficult times. I just want to play this. I've been playing it the last week or so. Neptune Theatre does a lottery every year where we sell tickets and you can take a trip. This year, the trip was to Toronto to see Come From Away and Hamilton. Clearly, that's not happening, but the lottery still exists. Your tickets are still good, and you can still buy tickets through our box office. And now you just get a big lump cash sum of the value. I think it's $3,100. And based on the video that I'm about to play, that's 15 seconds long, it gives you some ideas. I would basically use it to travel around and see some theater. Let's take a look. So it only remains for me to thank Hannah, Pam, and Wesley for being here with me this evening. It's great to see your faces.
Thank you, Jeremy.
I look forward to seeing you all in person, where we will go through that process of discovering whether we're still handshaking in the future or embracing, or whether we just...
How exciting.
That, exactly, yeah.
Or...
It's going to be a new world. I don't know.
Sitting next to each other in the theater.
Yeah.
We'll be doing that. We're going to do that.
Yes.
We're going to get to that point when it's safe to do so. Thanks very much. I'll ask you three to stay exactly where you are. Don't move a muscle. And the rest of you, I look forward to seeing you hopefully again this week. We have a great lineup of shows this week. Tomorrow night is a very special night. We go behind the curtain. We have 4 of... Oh, look, I'm covering Hillary's face up. Oh, that's terrible. Wait a second. I do that every single show. We have 4 of our backstage crew that are going to be spilling the beans on what goes on behind the scenes. And that rhymed way more than I thought it was going to. And then on Thursday, we have gathered together 4 amazing playwrights that have recently had plays produced at Neptune over the last few years. And that's going to be a great conversation for Thursday. And on Friday, I turn my attention to other people like us, actually, who are using this time to create a bit of a stir online and create some entertainment. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you all again soon.